Loại viết lo thế nào?
Good morning, friends.
You can start now.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
We'll start. Yesterday we had Okay, yes. Good morning, everybody. Yesterday we have seen the SFSP policy. Today we'll be seeing the new fire products. The three new products and the comparison of three new products with SFSP. New India Bharat Gೃಹ Raksha Policy, Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha Policy, and Bharat Sukshma Udyam Suraksha Policy. New India Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha Policy. We start with one of the policies, that is New India Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha Policy. Total value of insurable asset at a location does not exceed rupees 50 crore at the policy commencement date against fire and allied perils. What is the difference? The sum insured limit is 50 crores at a single location, does not exceed rupees 50 crores at the policy commencement date. The basis of indemnity and valuation: building, plant and machinery, FFF and other contents on reinstatement value basis. The major difference here is that the policy is based on reinstatement value basis. Raw materials on landed cost basis, stock in process on input cost basis, finished stock on manufacturing cost basis. Now, or contract price for goods sold but not yet delivered. This contract price valuation of the contents was not there in the SFSP policy. That is a new concept under Laghu Udyam or Sukshma policy. So, building, plant and machinery, FFF and other contents on reinstatement value basis, whereas raw material on landed cost basis, stock in process on input cost basis, and finished stock on manufacturing cost basis or contract price basis. What is contract price? Where the goods are sold but not yet delivered. If it is or contract price basis, if you don't consider contract price basis, then it is the finished stock on manufacturing cost excluding profit. We have seen in SFSP that profit element is never considered even for the finished stock. But in case of this new policy, profit element will be considered, but not under all finished goods, but only where contract price is considered for valuation. Bullion or unset precious stones, curious work of art, obsolete machinery, etc. on agreed value basis, subject to satisfactory valuation. So agreed value basis only for those where the market value cannot be assessed, and there it will be on agreed value basis. When policy is given on agreed value basis, then the question of ascertaining market value or reinstatement value at the time of claim does not arise. The agreed value becomes payable at the time of claim, irrespective of whether market value or reinstatement value is higher or lower. So question of underinsurance does not arise. Now we have to understand what is contract price. We have seen contract price clause under SFSP also. Contract price is in respect only of goods sold but not delivered, for which you are responsible and with regard to which, under the conditions of sale, the sale contract is cancelled by reason of any damage insured under this policy, either wholly or to the extent of the damage. The company's liability shall be based on the contract price. So in case of goods which are manufactured and already sold, when the goods are already sold, the profit of element is already there in the sale price. Otherwise, we are not considering the sale price, including profit for valuation for insurance. But in case the goods are already sold and the contract gets cancelled because of any peril operating covered under the policy. Such contract getting cancelled is due to the peril operating under the policy, and the goods are not delivered. Only for such commodities, the contract price, which is of the manufacturing price, including profit, is considered for valuation purpose for this policy. Now we continue. Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha for building, plant and machinery, FFF and the other contents covered on RIV basis must be reinstated with 12 months from the loss date. Otherwise, market value method is applicable. Now, in the SFSP, we had the option of market value or reinstatement value basis for the sum insured. But in case of Bharat Laghu Udyam, the basis is always RIV basis for building, plant and machinery, FFF and other contents. Now, when the sum insured is opted on RIV basis, the reinstatement must be done within 12 months from the loss date. Otherwise, the claim will be settled on market value basis. That is, claim will be settled subject to depreciation. Automatic reinstatement of sum insured. After a loss, a pro rata additional premium is available and necessary additional premium adjustment in claim payment is allowed. Now, this automatic reinstatement of sum insured was allowed under the SFSP policy also for the each and every claim which is paid. Underinsurance is waived up to 15% in the event of a loss admissible. If more than 50%, then underinsurance is involved. For the full underinsurance will be taken for claim determination. Underinsurance is not applicable to specific contents as they are insured on agreed value basis. Which are the specific contents we will see further. So underinsurance is waived for Laghu Udyam and Sukshma policy up to 15%. But if the underinsurance is 16%, then the total underinsurance becomes applicable. So waiver is only up to 15%. If the underinsurance is 16, 17 or 20%, then underinsurance over and above 15% is not applicable, but underinsurance total will become applicable if once it crosses 15%. Plant and machinery, what does it include? Actually, these two policies or new policies make more clear, bring more clarity in the definitions of plant and machinery equipments. All equipments, machinery, pipes and cables, spares, computers, servers and preloaded license system software located in insured building or in open area in insured premises is considered as plant and machinery. Machines under repair, machines taken on hire or lease or any system of purchase of goods, foundation or bedding or setting of the machine or accessories of machines. Everything will be covered as plant and machinery. Perils covered are, most of the perils are same like SFSP. There are certain differences which we must carefully remember as we are studying from the exam point of view. Fire. Now here there is a major difference, including due to its own fermentation, natural heating or spontaneous combustion. As we have seen yesterday, the SFSP policy, the definition of fire excludes its own fermentation, natural heating or spontaneous combustion. Here the peril covered itself says that fire includes its own fermentation, natural heating or spontaneous combustion. It indirectly means spontaneous combustion is not an add-on cover but a basic cover under the Laghu or Sukshma policy. So spontaneous combustion, no need for any additional premium. Explosion, implosion, same like SFSP policy. Lightning. Now earthquake. Earthquake is an add-on cover under SFSP policy, but earthquake is an inbuilt cover under Laghu policy. STFI, same. STFI group of perils, subsidence and landslide and rock slide, bushfire, forest fire and jungle fire. Now under SFSP policy, bushfire was covered inbuilt in the basic premium. However, forest fire was an add-on cover. In the Lagu policy, you will see that all has been combined under one peril, that is bushfire, including forest fire, and jungle fire also is covered as a single peril. So forest fire is not an add-on cover, but forest fire is covered along with bushfire, and jungle fire also has been specified. Impact damage of any kind by external object, for example, vehicles falling trees, aircraft, wall, etc. More care has been taken to elaborate or bring clarity in the definition of perils in the new policies. Falling trees has been added, wall has been added in the definition itself. Now the major difference is that the aircraft damage was a separate peril under SFSP policy, and it was applicable for any policy under SFSP. Like SFSP policies, when was there before the new policies were introduced, all the perils were same for all policies. Now aircraft damage has been added along with impact damage, so one peril has been reduced. No aircraft damage as a separate peril. So the exclusions related to aircraft peril, that is any object falling from the aircraft, parts falling, or due to the supersonic speed or pressure waves, that exclusion will also fall under the impact damage exclusion cover of the new policy. Missile testing operation, riot, strike and malicious damage, act of terrorism. Yes.
मैम जो यहाँ पे इन SFSP policy impact damage of insured vehicles, animals was excluded. In this policy, it is included or excluded as well?
एक मिनट, आपका आवाज
Hello.
आ रहा है. I cannot hear you.
Ma'am, in SFSP policy, impact damage has exclusions of insureds or employees of the insureds, means vehicles, animals, etc. But in this policy, it is also exclusion, or it is included in that peril?
Ma'am, are you hearing me?
ये बहुत आपका कम आवाज आ रहा है.
Now you hear me, ma'am? Am I audible, ma'am, to you?
थोड़ा अब बोलिए. हेलो.
Yes, ma'am. Continue करिए.
यस, अभी आप पूछे. अभी आप पूछे, आपका डाउट क्या था?
Ma'am, in external perils and fire policy,
Yes.
impact damage excluded impact of from insured or employees, vehicles,
Yes.
animals, etc. But in new policy, it is included or still excluded?
It it is excluded for Laghu and Sukshma, but there is no such difference for गृह पॉलिसी. अभी देखेंगे, जैसे आगे देखेंगे वो आपको आगे के स्लाइड में पता चलेगा.
Okay, thank you.
We'll continue. Yes, there is bursting or overflowing of water tanks, apparatus में कोई फर्क नहीं है. Leakage from automatic sprinkler. Theft within 7 days from occurrence of and proximately caused by any of the above insured event. This add-on was not there previously. This is not add-on, sorry, the basic peril. This 14th peril has been added in the new policy. Theft within 7 days from occurrence of and proximately caused by any of the above insured events. So theft is not just a peril added under this policy, but theft after the peril covered under the policy operating within 7 days from the occurrence and proximately caused by any of the above insured events. So proximate cause should be fire and allied perils, followed by theft within 7 days. So if you see the difference.
Ma'am, in SFSP policy, theft is covered for RSMTD?
No, it is actually not covered in RSMTD also. It's only in the process of riot, not followed by riots.
During the
riots also,
right.
Yes. RSMD also, the 4th point was there, ABCD, cessation and dispossession, those 4 points of RSMD. So only in the process of riot it was covered and not followed by the riot. So generally we took it as not covered only under SFSP, because the differentiation of exactly in the process of riots and followed by riots could not be done. So it was as good as not covered, which even the in the SFSP policy also the RSMD says that the 4th point, that followed by rioters later or followed later after the riot and strike was not covered. So it was only the malicious damage at the time of proximately caused by the RSMD. The sum insured is per location. Okay, that is very important, which we have to understand.
Hello, ma'am.
Per location sum insured or per policy sum insured.
Hello.
The sum insured is per location.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, but in III book it is mentioned that loss by theft during or after the occurrence of any insured peril, except under RSMTD, it's covered. So after word we had during or after the occurrence of any insured peril.
Exclusion में है ना? Except
Exclusion
as
में
mentioned under RSMD.
Okay. It means that during observation.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, ये policy का sum insured, I think somebody has a doubt. Policy sum insured, whether it is per policy or it is per location. Basically our fire policy, which is based on the All India Fire Tariff, it is the sum insured is always per location sum insured and not per policy sum insured.
Madam, but while preparing the policy in the system never allowed us for this thing. It taking the total sum insured always.
See, system का अभी हम बात नहीं करेंगे. अभी पहले ये समझते हैं what does the tariff permit. Okay, अभी कल भी हमने देखा है partial insurance is not permitted as per the All India Fire Tariff. इसका क्या मतलब है? कोई भी बिल्डिंग हो, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी हो या कोई भी कंटेंट्स हो, उसका पार्शियल इंश्योरेंस नहीं करना है. मेनली बिल्डिंग एंड प्लांट एंड मशीनरी का मतलब पूरा इंश्योरेंस करना है और पूरा इंश्योरेंस करना है एक पॉलिसी में. और इट शुड नॉट बी एनीथिंग, सिलेक्शन शुड नॉट बी डन. पॉइंट नंबर 1. Second is it should all be covered under one policy, because by covering under different policies there should not be either paying premium in installments or taking any advantage. Now, but generally due to the requirement of the financer, तो कोई मशीनरी पहले लिया है, कोई बाद में लिया है, there used to be different policies, but because it was the SFSP policy, there was not much difference, because all policies will be treated as one for the purpose of imposing excess. Okay, the tariff says that partial insurance should not be done, everything should be done under one policy, and no deferred policies to take any advantage of the premium or cover. Okay, now
But
so
ma'am,
it
if
has to be per policy. It has to be per location. Per location है. Now system, because of this 50 crore and 5 crore, because it suddenly there was change from SFSP policy, there could be some problems in the Swiss, but it has to be per location sum insured and not per policy sum insured. Take one example. There is one factory. The sum insured total, including building and machinery, is 55 crores. But covering building under one policy and machinery under another policy, still if it is 55 crores, then it is beyond your Laghu policy. So 50 crores, you have to consider per location and not per policy. Breaking the policies to take advantage of the and converting it into Laghu or Sukshma is not correct. You have to understand that it is per location. Wherever you read carefully, it is always the per location sum insured and not per policy sum insured. You have to be very clear for giving the exam that sum insured 50 crore or 5 crore का जो limit है वो per policy limit, per location limit है and not per policy. पर पॉलिसी तो पॉलिसी एक ही होना चाहिए ना, हम उसको अलग अलग कर रहे हैं. पॉलिसी एक होना चाहिए एक लोकेशन का.
मैम ये जो आप एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं वो टू डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज का है, लेकिन जहाँ पे आप स्टॉक फ्लोटर्स में करते हैं, डिफरेंट लोकेशंस में स्टॉक डाला जाता है, तो वहाँ पे टोटल वो सिस्टम को कैलकुलेट करता है. एक लोकेशन में 35 करोड़ डाल दिया, दूसरे में
नहीं. एक मिनट वी डोंट वांट टू. हम नहीं,
ഞാൻ രാവിലെ അവിടെയൊക്കെ പോയതാ.
हम आज जो कर रहे हैं, आज हम जो स्टडी कर रहे हैं वो एग्जाम के लिए कर रहे हैं. तो हमको अगर डिस्कशन करना है,
ആളുകളും കാര്യങ്ങളും
अरे काइंडली अनम्यूट यार.
सब म्यूट कर लीजिए. टुडे आवर इंटेंशन इज टू अपीयर फॉर एग्जाम, राइट. आप एग्जाम के बाद में इसके ऊपर डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं. अगर आप एग्जाम के लिए लिखोगे पर पॉलिसी सम इंश्योर्ड तो गलत होगा. आपको एग्जाम के लिए तो पर लोकेशन ही लिखना है, तो इसके बाद में हम इसके ऊपर डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं. ओके
मैम एक क्वेश्चन था. आप
यस
like partial insurance आपने बताया कि as per the tariff partial insurance cannot be done, but in case partial insurance ले लिया, आधी machines के लिए लिया, हमको नहीं पता as a insurer and claim आता है, तो in that case हम क्या करते हैं मैम?
दोनों पॉलिसी मिला के डिडक्टेबल पकड़ा जाएगा.
नहीं पॉलिसी नहीं मैम, उसने 10 मशीन थी, 5 ही मशीन के लिए ही उसने पॉलिसी लिया, हमको नहीं पता.
तो अंडर इंश्योरेंस हो जाएगा ना.
ओके, इन दैट केस वी चार्ज अंडर इंश्योरेंस.
अंडर इंश्योरेंस हो जाएगा क्योंकि आपको एक लोकेशन में पूरा सम इंश्योर्ड तो लेना ही है. सिलेक्शन इज नॉट अलाउड अंडर फायर पॉलिसी. अगर आपके पास 10 मशीन है और उसमें आप 5 कहीं करते हो, 5 कहीं करते हो बिकॉज ऑफ बैंक या अलग अलग टाइम पे परचेस किया है, फिर भी टोटल कवर तो है आपका.
नहीं है मैम.
If you are covering only certain machines and not covering certain machines, then that is an example of under insurance. Because it's not selection. फायर में मशीनरी वाइज तो पॉलिसी होता नहीं है, वो एमबी में हो जाएगा वैसे, तो आपका तो यहाँ अंडर इंश्योरेंस लग जाएगा.
ओके.
देयर आर सम इन
मैम अगर आपका पॉलिसी इशू हुआ है मान लीजिए 45 करोड़ पे और उसमें एंडोर्समेंट आ जाता है सम इंश्योर्ड इंक्रीज का जो कि 50 करोड़ को क्रॉस कर जाता है।
ठीक है, अभी मुझे समझ में आ गया आपका क्वेश्चन। अभी आई विल आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन एंड देन रिक्वेस्ट यू कि आप नोट कर लीजिए। नोट करके आप शायद ये हो सकता है कि और डाउट इज गेटिंग क्लियर्ड इन द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। सो आप उसको नोट कर लीजिए और जब आपके ये कंप्लीट हो जाएगा तब पूछ लीजिए। इसको कवर करते हैं। ये पॉलिसीज का जो 5 करोड़ एंड 50 करोड़ का लिमिट है, दैट इज एट द टाइम ऑफ टेकिंग द पॉलिसी, एट द टाइम ऑफ इंसेप्शन ऑफ द पॉलिसी। If your sum insured crosses the limit, that is 5 crore or 50 crore in the currency of the policy, आपका पॉलिसी वही रहेगा। आपने अगर 45 का लिया है और आपका बीच में इंक्रीज ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड होता है, आप उसके ऊपर प्रोरेटा प्रीमियम भरते हो, तो व्हेन योर पॉलिसी विल कंटिन्यू टिल द एक्सपायरी ऑफ द पॉलिसी इवन इफ इट क्रॉसेस 50 करोड़। और सेम विल अप्लाई फॉर 5 करोड़ पॉलिसी ऑल्सो, सूक्ष्म पॉलिसी ऑल्सो। लेकिन एट द टाइम ऑफ रिन्यूअल क्या हो गया, आपका sum insured is more than 50 crore, then you will go for SFSP policy. और ये आपका यहाँ पे, is that clear? Sum insured limit is for taking the policy at the inception of the policy and not at the currency of the policy. Currency of the policy में वो cross हो सकता है, that is allowed. But at the renewal आपको वो accordingly change करना है।
ओके मैम, थैंक यू।
एडिशंस, अल्टरेशंस एंड एक्सटेंशन, इनबिल्ट कवर्स है कुछ, सम इनबिल्ट कवर्स, एडिशंस, अल्टरेशंस एंड एक्सटेंशन अप टू 15% ऑफ द सम इंश्योर्ड एक्सक्लूडिंग स्टॉक्स। तो एडिशन, अल्टरेशन और एक्सटेंशन का जो कवर है, इट इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल फॉर स्टॉक, इट इज फॉर प्लांट, बिल्डिंग एंड मशीनरी, बिल्डिंग, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी एंड फर्नीचर फिक्सचर। इट इज एडिशंस, अल्टरेशंस एंड एक्सटेंशन। So there may be some additions, alterations or extension जो अगर नहीं इन्फॉर्म किया है, up to 15% वो अगर sum insured के 15% तक हो गया है तो that will be covered under the policy. Temporary removal of stock, loss to stocks temporarily removed to other premises for fabrication, processing or finishing up to 10%. We had that clause, but this has been given as inbuilt cover. Cover for specific contents. Cover for specific contents is money and documents up to 50,000, computer programs, information and data up to 5 lakhs, personal effects of employees, directors and visitors rupees 15,000 per person for maximum of 20% during the policy period. Inbuilt covers startup expenses up to 5 lakhs, which was add-on cover, यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है. Professional fees, that is architect, surveyors, engineer up to 5% inbuilt cover. Cost of removal of debris 2%. Cost compelled by municipal regulations, कोई additional cost आ गया तो, so that is also an inbuilt cover. Now standard add-ons, that is floater cover, cover for stocks at multiple locations under one sum insured. So floater cover and declaration cover, we need not give separate policy like we were giving under SFSP. That will be add-on within the Laghu policy, floater cover and declaration policy for stocks. That is, we know what is the declaration policy and what is the floater cover. So highest value in one of the floater location has to be declared under the policy in the proposal form. Now, some important points which we should know is that this policy is applicable for office, hotel, shops, industrial, manufacturing risk, utilities located outside the compound of industrial manufacturing, storage risk, tank farm, gas holder. So this is a common for all except dwelling. And for dwelling, the Griha policy is there where there is no limit of any sum insured. So sum insured upper limit nahi hai, that Griha policy will not be because of a higher sum insured will not be underwritten under or issued SFSP policy. Griha ke liye koi bhi sum insured ke liye it will always be a Griha policy only. Effect of death of the insured, if policy has been issued for individual, the policy will continue for the benefit of the legal representative till the end of the policy period. If the sum insured exceeds rupees 50 crore or reduces below 5 crore during the policy period, Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha policy will continue till the expiry of the policy period. However, on renewal, Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha policy has to be replaced with the applicable policy. So during the currency of the policy, no change will be there. That change will have to be done only at the time of renewal of the policy. Cancellation of policy, cancelled by insured pro rata plus 10% to be retained in the event of cancellation. In this policy, cancellation of insured is always on retention of premium on short period basis in under any policy. So similar hai, but short period, the concept of short period has been made as pro rata plus 10%. The calculation of short period premium is not as per the scale, but pro rata plus 10% to be retained in the event of cancellation by the insured. Now, cancellation by the insurer, as per the IRDA guidelines, we have seen under most of the policies or SFSP also, cancellation by insurer refund on pro rata basis and cancellation by insured short period. SIE hota hai. But your IRDA has in the guidelines clarified that cancellation of policy during the policy period by insurer is not allowed, except on the ground of misrepresentation, non-disclosure of material fact, fraud, or non-cooperation of the insured. If firstly, insurance company will not cancel the policy. If the insurance company has to cancel, it has to be only because of misrepresentation, non-disclosure of material facts, fraud from the insured. But in such cases, no refund of premium will be made if the policy is cancelled by the insurer. So cancellation and refund will be only when the insured cancels and not when the insurer cancels. When insurer cancels, it is only because there is misrepresentation or some fraud, and in which case there will be no refund of premium. Bharat Sukshma Udyam Suraksha policy. This policy has to be mandatorily issued to an enterprise whose total value of insurable asset at a location does not exceed 5 crores. Policy commencement date, again, fire and allied perils. Again, here you will see 5 crores at the policy commencement date. So policy commencement date important hai. Later, the sum insured might change. Against fire and allied perils, policies, all these policies are effective 1/4/21. Date bhi, I think everyone knows, dates bhi pucha ja sakta hai. What is the subject matter? Building and structure, plant and machinery, stock of raw material, semi-finished, finished goods, goods held in trust and in open in the insured premises, all other property in the insured premises used for business, everything can be covered. Now, premium rate will be earthquake, STFI, terrorism, floater cover for stock, loss of stock located at more than one named location, no deletion of EQ or STFI or terrorism is permitted under these policies. Short period policy on short period scale. So short period policy is opted, it will be on short period scale. But when there is a cancellation by insured and refund is to be given, then not the short period scale, but the pro rata plus 10% premium will be retained. Cancellation and refund that we have seen already. Cancellation by insurer also we have seen. Minimum premium shall be 100. Addition and alterations and extensions up to 15%, excluding stock, same as Laghu policy. Stocks at many locations on floater basis subject to specified location and shown in the policy schedule. Temporary removal of stock 10%, and such stock is not otherwise insured. This condition always follows where there is temporary removal of stock. Temporary removal of stock to some other location up to 10% when it is shifted gets covered under other location. If it is covered in the other location, then the first the claim will be paid on the other location. Cover for specific contents, cover for money and documents, deeds, manuscripts, business books, plans, drawing, startup expenses not exceeding 1 lakh. Here the startup expenses is not exceeding 1 lakh. Professional architect fees 5 lakhs. 5% of the claim amount. Debris removal 2%. Ye 5% and 2% is same for Laghu and Sukshma, but startup expenses is more under Sukshma, Laghu policy, which is 5 lakhs, and under Sukshma, it is okay, only 1 lakh. So that difference is there. Professional fees, architect fees is 5% of the claim amount. Removal of debris is 2% of the claim amount. Cost compelled by municipal or local authorities. Now, declaration policy for stock is one of the add-on cover. All terms and conditions. Yes.
Ma'am, in the case of cancellation by insured,
Yes.
the condition is same for all the companies, because in Oriental we have different scale cancellation by insured.
Okay. I think as per the IRDA guidelines, it says that the short period scale can be different for different insurance companies, and it is given in the guidelines that it has to be shown on the face of the policy. So I think it can differ.
Okay. So that we need not to means for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever
Okay.
is not common
Okay.
will not be asked. Yes, I have seen in the IRDA guidelines that can be different for different companies.
Yes,
Even
ma'am.
the name of the policies can be
Yes.
little different.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Bharat Griha Raksha policy is open for 1421. That is same. Consequently, existing fire policy SFSP for residential segment of public is replaced with a new product for renewal. Product and for new business or for renewals. Only previous policies continue till expiry. Product is standardized, but premium rates are not uniform and vary among insurers. Bharat Griha Raksha policy. I think there is some question. Okay, I'll take it later. Bharat Griha Raksha policy. The features. Policy can be issued to dwellings, both dwellings and contents owned by individuals as well as societies. So sometimes there are dwellings of commercial in the name of the commercial establishment, but giving to their either employees or officials are used as dwelling. So both fall under Griha Raksha policy. AIFT provisions are not applicable for this product. This policy shall be issued mandatorily for dwellings. There is no maximum sum insured limit for obtaining this policy. Terrorism is also part of standard cover, but terrorism rates are as per market pool directive. Long-term policies are allowed up to 10 years. This is a major difference. Long-term policies under SFSP were allowed for more than 10 years. But now there is a capping of only 10 years. Yes. Okay. Long-term policies are allowed only up to 10 years, not more than 10 years. There was an option of whether you want discount or you want the enhanced sum insured. And in all the policies, the option was to go for the discount because mainly the residence policies for SFSP policies were taken for the loan purpose to give to the financer. So always the policies opted were the discounted policies. The second option of increasing the sum insured on yearly basis, which was available under SFSP also, was not opted by insureds most of the cases. Now that difference has been removed, long-term policies are allowed up to 10 years and there is no discount on the basic premium. There is no discount on basic premium and of course EQSTFI also. So no discount allowed on the basic premium also. However, the benefit of increase in sum insured will be there throughout 10 years. So the sum insured will increase by 10% every year and it will go up to 100% increase in the sum insured by the end of 10 years. Under insurance is not applicable. Basis of sum insured on reinstatement value basis except for valuable contents. Now, there is a major difference that the sum insured on reinstatement value basis. When we say reinstatement value basis, that is what we have seen yesterday also. That is the cost of new building to be constructed or machineries to be purchased or furnitures and fixtures, cost of today's value of the old furniture or old building, the cost at which it can be now reinstated or replaced. Now, all the policies are on reinstatement value basis. All the policies are on reinstatement value basis, but the sum insured is to be opted as carpet area into construction cost. There is one major difficulty or area that is found little difficult while issuing the policies, that we used to never have any area and compulsorily to be incorporated under the policy. So carpet area into construction cost, that is how the reinstatement value is shown. Now here what is important is carpet area must be correct. The construction cost may be incorrect little bit, but the major difference will be there, or it will affect the claim settlement if the carpet area goes wrong. So it is necessary that the carpet area must be correct, and carpet area, if it is correct, like if the sum insured on the last year policy was 20 lakhs and at the time of renewal the insured, though the policy has changed, wants to opt for the same sum insured,
मैम आवाज नहीं आ रही है अब।
अभी आ रही है?
यस मैम।
Yes. So basis of sum insured में carpet area is the important part. Carpet area has to be correct. No policy excess at all. Excess is also not there. Under insurance is also not applicable. But the carpet area must be correct. The construction cost may go wrong. Proposal form provides for nomination with relationship mentioned. Dwelling building includes furniture fittings, the garage, outhouse, parking space, compound walls, retaining walls, internal roads, verandas, porch, etc. There is more clarity in the policies as to what all can be the property, because sometimes when we were issuing the policies, the compound wall, generally there used to be a issue with the claim related to compound wall. That compound wall insured will claim that it is covered and it is not covered under the policy. It is necessary to show it separately, but there is a reminder by it is incorporating it in the proposal form that the insured has to show it separately. So generally there will be no mistake, or it will get covered. It will be a reminder so that insured shows the separate sum insured for compound wall. Automatic escalation of sum insured by 10%. I think somebody has asked what is the difference between escalation and reinstatement. Now, escalation, you're permitting escalation under the policy so that your sum insured goes on increasing by certain percent. Okay. If we are now talking about Bharat Griha Raksha, we are saying automatic escalation of sum insured by 10%. It means your sum insured, if it is now 100, it becomes 110 by the end of the policy, increasing 1 by 365, which we have seen yesterday also. The concept is escalation is your sum insured today will go on increasing by a certain percent throughout the policy period, and will become 10% or 5% at the end of the policy period. But reinstatement is something entirely different. Reinstatement is the cost of the property today, which was purchased, maybe at a lower, if you take an example of machinery, reinstatement value is the replacement cost of the machinery. Machinery may be purchased at 50,000 and now it is 4-year-old. So if you consider it with depreciation, then it's the depreciated market value. But if that 50,000 machinery is today available at 75,000, then the value of that machinery on reinstatement basis is today 75,000. There is a lot of difference in escalation and reinstatement. There is no, I think if it is not clear, whoever has asked can clarify at the end of this. Reinstatement, yesterday we have seen that there are 3 places where reinstatement, either the policy on the reinstatement value basis. So today what we are seeing, all the policies on reinstatement value basis. That is all the policies, Laghu, Sukshma or Griha. The sum insured will be opted on reinstatement value basis. That is whatever you are covering, building or plant and machinery, furniture, fixtures and other contents except the stock is covered at the today's price and not at the purchase price less depreciation or today's price less depreciation. That is the reinstatement value. So when you opt on reinstatement value, what is the advantage? You are getting, by paying a higher premium, rate is the same, you are paying a higher premium because you are opting for a higher sum insured for something that is old. And by claim, you are going to get something new for something that was old. So that is the concept of opting sum insured on the reinstatement value basis. Escalation is when you are anticipating increase in the sum insured, not today, but in the future 1 year. Today, what you are opting already is on the reinstatement value basis, but you anticipate that your sum insured will go on increasing in the next year, in the 12 months. So you opt for an escalation as an add-on cover, which can be in different percent for different policies. Okay. So automatic escalation of sum insured by 10% in the Griha policy, it means your sum insured will go on increasing by 10% every year or will get escalated. You know what is escalated? Is going higher, increasing. So it will get escalated by 10% per annum, subject to a maximum of 100% for 10 years, because policy now is allowed only for 10 years. For annual policies, increase on daily basis is 1/365 of 10%. So even if the policy is opted on annual basis, think 1 year policy, still the sum insured will increase by 10%, but not on the first day, but 1/365 every day. And by the end of the policy period, your sum insured will be higher by 10% than what you have opted at the initial policy period. So your reinstatement sum insured, you are anticipating the reinstatement sum insured may go wrong. So by escalation, it is taking care that your sum insured, even if it increases. Today, I am anticipating my machinery new cost as 75,000, which I purchased at 50,000. I am saying today's price of new is 75,000. But in 6 months' time, it may not be 75, it may become little more than that. So I am opting for the escalation provision so that there could be a gradual increase in the sum insured. So how you have to remember is reinstatement value is the value of the new when you are taking the policy. Escalation, you are opting as an add-on cover so that it provides for any increase in the sum insured throughout the policy period. Now, when we are seeing this policy, let us see specifically in respect of the new policy, Griha Raksha policy. You are opting the sum insured on reinstatement value basis. That you are not opting it on the, because it is 25-year-old house. You are not covering at the old price, purchase price or depreciated price, but you are purchasing at the today's square feet area or today's replacement. Like you can say today, at what price that house can be built. That is your reinstatement value. However, if you are going for a long-term policy, your today's sum insured will not be correct for the next 10 years. It is going to increase. So you are taking a long-term policy, but your sum insured is remaining constant for 10 years, which may still become inadequate to replace that property. So there is a automatic escalation of 10% every year, so that by the end of 10 years, your sum insured becomes double and will be sufficient to cover the loss or damage, whatever happens in the currency of the policy over a period of 10 years. Automatic reinstatement of sum insured after a loss at pro rata additional premium. Claim payment is allowed. Once the claim is paid, your sum insured gets reduced by that much amount. So to bring your sum insured to the original, the premium has to be paid and sum insured brought to the original. That is the automatic reinstatement of sum insured. For this policy uses the word restoration of the sum insured. Built-in cover for dwelling, general content, 20% opted for buildings where policy is taken for building and contents together. There is an option of only building and contents cover. So when you opt for building and contents cover, but you don't specify any sum insured for contents, then you get an automatic cover up to 20% of the sum insured of the building. However, maximum 10 lakhs where you have opted for building and contents cover. Beyond this, if higher amount is required, then by paying additional premium, the sum insured higher than the 10%, higher than 20% of the building sum insured, maximum 10 lakhs. Over and above that, like if you want to cover 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, and more than the 20% of the building sum insured, then that can be opted by paying additional premium. Basis of valuation is reinstatement value for contents also.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
One small doubt. This 20% which you are referring for the contents part, is it within the overall sum insured of the building, or is it in addition to the building sum insured?
No, not addition. Your building is, if you are covering the building, you are covering the building with carpet area into your construction cost. And if your building sum insured you are showing as some, suppose 50 lakhs, then your contents are by default covered up to 20% of 60 lakhs. You don't have to increase the sum insured for that.
No, so ma'am, the building will be covered for 40 lakh and contents for 10 lakh.
No. Building covered for 60 lakhs and contents 20% of 60 lakhs, but that is maximum 10 lakhs covered free without any extra premium as an inbuilt cover. So that does not reduce your building sum insured. You mean to say whether the building sum insured gets reduced? No, you take it as first carpet area X into your construction cost, you arrive at your sum insured, right? On RIV basis. आपका RIV basis पे sum insured कैसे calculate करेंगे आप? Carpet area है into your construction cost आ गया आपका sum insured. वो sum insured जो है उसका 20% आपका contents के लिए cover रहेगा, but आपका building का sum insured उसके लिए कम नहीं होगा.
Excuse me, ma'am. In case of total loss, in this case, shall we pay 70 lakh?
Contents का भी होगा तो yes. Contents is that free content cover है ना वो.
But ma'am, then how is it possible that the policy is issued on 60 lakh and we are paying a claim of 70 lakh?
You are giving some free cover, no? Up to 10 lakhs.
But ma'am, it is always written as our liability should not exceed total sum insured.
Yes. Yes. So in which case your total loss should not exceed the sum insured, then your contents cannot go beyond the sum insured. Additional contents, if you take, then you are paying extra premium, but your content cover up to 10%, up to 10 lakhs is inbuilt within your sum insured of the building. So if your content loss and building both loss was, then the sum insured is the limit, then you are losing by the contents cover. Okay, then in which case you are losing your building. See, it is not to be taken as building sum insured gets reduced. It is to be taken as building sum insured remains the same. Building sum insured remains the same. So building loss है तो आपका building loss जो total है वो रहेगा. But जैसे आपने बोला, it is correct because sum insured is the limit. अगर आपका total loss हो जाता है तो building plus contents आपका total sum insured उतना ही मिलेगा and not over and above the sum insured. आवाज आ रही है? हेलो?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, आवाज आ रही है ना? Yes, you have to take it as the building sum insured is not reduced, but in case of total loss, the limit will be the total sum insured. Okay. General contents, what we understand by general contents: furniture, fixtures, TV, telephones, electronic items, antennas, water, storage equipments, air conditioners, kitchen equipment, household items, everything. Valuable contents are jewelry, silverware, painting, इसको to be covered at additional premium. Non-covered contents are where unset precious stones. Now, we are seeing the perils of the Bharat Griha Raksha: fire, explosion, lightning, earthquake, STFI, bushfire, impact of any kind. Okay, as you were asking sometime while seeing the Laghu and Sukshma policy, that impact damage of any kind it is written. So external object like vehicle, falling trees, aircraft, wall, etc., everything combined under one. It does not say impact damage of insured vehicle or other vehicle. So it is impact damage of any kind. So even if it is there is no exclusion of impact damage by insured's own vehicle, and there is no add-on cover of any insured's own vehicle. All these covers are the same. We see the comparison. We have seen this perils, which is already. So built-in covers are loss of rent for the number of months within the selected sum insured. Rent for alternate accommodation cover for selected number of months within the selected sum insured. So loss of rent and rent for alternate accommodation has been given as built-in cover. Dwellings general contents held covered up to 20%, that is maximum up to 10 lakhs. Architect, consulting engineers fees up to 5% and debris 2%. We have already seen, repetition hai. Optional covers hai. There are two optional covers under the Griha policy. That is, one is PA cover, 5 lakhs per head for insured and spouse, and death due to any of the 14 perils covered under the policy, not any other personal accident. Cover for valuable contents on agreed value basis. Now 5 lakhs per head is for insured and spouse. If insured or one of the there is a death of one of the persons, insured or the spouse, during the policy period, then the cover for other continues till the expiry of the policy. So these two PA cover has been given as an additional cover, which was never there under any of the fire policies. 5 lakhs per head. Now, general exclusions are deliberate or willful war, nuclear, pollution and contamination.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me.
Yes.
I have one doubt in inbuilt covers, madam. Just go to that screen, please. In this inbuilt covers, 3, 4, 5 mentioned some limitation for the amount, no?
No, it is already given, no?
Yeah, and what about what about 1 and 2, madam? There is no amount is mentioned.
No,
Still,
loss of
it
rent.
is-
No,
yeah.
it's given, see, loss of rent for selected number of months within the selected sum insured for this cover. Now it is number of months and the sum insured has to be selected by the insured. Has to mention.
Then
yes.
then we have to pay the premium for that.
Yes,
customer has-
yes. That premium
Then-
structure can differ in the companies.
Then
How much
it
extra you
cannot
are
be called as
charging for that.
inbuilt cover, no, madam.
That is inbuilt here because it has been given under this policy. But rent for alternate accommodation cover also, you have to select the number of months within the selected.
Then we have
See,
to collect the premium for that. Then.
no, that premium depends on whether when you're arriving at a rate, company to company, it differs whether you want to arrive at a premium without charging any extra premium for this. But what you have to give in the proposal is the number of months and the sum insured. Like 500 per month, and for 6 months I want to opt. So my sum insured becomes this much.
Okay.
But both have to be offered under this policy. That's why it is built-in cover.
Okay.
So the amount payable will depend on how many months you have selected and what per month rent you have selected. That has to be mentioned in your proposal form. General exclusion, we will, these common ones we will not see. Okay, any addition, extension, alteration to any structure of the insured's dwelling building that increases its carpet area by more than 10% of the carpet area existing at policy inception or renewal, unless additional premium is paid and such additional extension alteration is added in the policy by endorsement. You will observe that what we had as omission to insure addition, alteration in the SFSP policy, this cover is similar to that, but the word omission is not there. So it is not an omission by the insured. All the three policies cover this benefit as addition, extension, or alteration. When you say addition, extension, and alteration, that has to be after the inception of the policy. So after the inception of the policy, if there is a more carpet area, it increases its carpet area. So it could be because some FSI has been increased, then the carpet area is more by 10%, then that will be considered up to 10%. And if it is more than that, additional premium has to be paid at the renewal or at the, if it is more than 10% and no additional premium is paid, then that is not covered. But up to 10% it is covered, provided it is increase in the carpet area. So in the other two policies, we have 15% addition, extension, alteration, and in the Griha also that 10% is there. But this 10% is for the increases the carpet area. So if there is any addition, extension, or alteration in the structure of the insured dwelling, which increases its carpet area. So declared carpet area was less, it has increased by 10%, then it is covered. But anything more than 10% will not be covered unless some premium is paid, declared and premium is paid. So use of residence for any other purpose such as holiday home or lodging or boarding. However, if there is some own business and if it is conducted at the residence, then some small business of insured private business, up to that it is considered under this policy. Now we see as comparison for better understanding, SFSP had option of market value or reinstatement value basis of sum insured. In new products, no option of market value for building, plant and machinery, FFF and other contents. Reinstatement of sum insured after loss is termed as restoration of sum insured in the new product. So this removes one confusion of word reinstatement being used again and again in the SFSP policy and different understanding with the different meaning. So after the claim, when the sum insured, what we call as reinstating the sum insured under SFSP will now be called as restoration of sum insured for better clarity. Earthquake is add-on under SFSP, which is inbuilt cover under new policy. Architect surveyor fees and removal of debris were 3% and 1% under SFSP, which is now 5% and 2% under both the products. Forest fire as an add-on cover under SFSP, and it is modified as bush fire, forest fire, and jungle fire. Theft within 7 days was not covered under SFSP, covered under all the three new products. Loss of rent and rent for alternate accommodation was add-on cover under SFSP, which is covered under Griha Suraksha policy for the sum insured chosen. Escalation is an add-on cover under SFSP, but automatic increase in sum insured is there, similar what we call as escalation for Griha Suraksha policy for long term as well as annual policy. Under insurance strictly applicable under SFSP for all the policies, which is not applicable for Griha Suraksha policy, and waived up to 15% for Laghu and Sukshma policy. Aircraft damage is a separate peril under SFSP policy, which is combined with impact damage in new policy. Fire peril under SFSP excluded own fermentation, natural heating, and spontaneous combustion, whereas under Laghu and Sukshma policies, fire includes own fermentation, natural heating, and spontaneous combustion. So spontaneous combustion becomes inbuilt cover. Terrorism was with extra premium, which is covered as insured event under new policy, so compulsorily to be covered. Cancellation clause SFSP allows cancellation by both insured and insurer, but new policies says that insurer will not cancel the policy unless there is misrepresentation or non-disclosure or fraud. So there is no question of refund from the insurer's side. Except long-term policy will be cancelled after a total loss and refund will be given. For the long-term policy, it is possible that 10-year policy, if there is a total loss, then policy can be cancelled. Now, loading for earthquake cover for a residential building depends on, it depends on earthquake zone, where the house is located, same all over the country, or covered automatically in SFSP. Half of the industrial loading. These are some questions. As we have to, I think if there is anything under these policies, we will see, and then either go for questions or we go for engineering. We have to cover engineering also. Now, somebody had asked escalation and reinstatement. I think the difference is very, very clear, the difference in escalation and reinstatement. Now, shall we continue with a few questions, or questions you can refer, because I've already marked the answers also. There are questions on Laghu Sukshma as well as for SFSP also, which as answers are marked, you can go through later also. And if there is some doubt, we can discuss. I think we can go for engineering so that we can cover. Yes.
In Griha Suraksha policy, we can take policy for contents only or not?
Yes, you can take for contents only, because if it's a tenant, it is building and contents, or only building or only contents, but one of the two. Same like SFSP, tenant can go for contents and the owner can go for building only. Sometimes if he is not staying, he will only go for building. So building and contents, or building, only building, or only contents also.
Burglary is not covered in this policy, na?
Under
Griha Suraksha policy.
It's covered. The 7 days clause is for all the three policies.
Only burglary without fall of insured perils.
No. Only burglary is not covered under any policy.
It's a separate policy. Okay.
Only burglary. Only burglary is not covered under your Laghu or Sukshma or Griha or SFSP policy. None of your fire policies will cover an independent burglary cover, theft cover. What is covered 7 days is also approximately caused due to your fire perils. Within 7 days, any burglary.
Okay, got it now. Thank you.
So independently, burglary is not covered under any of your fire policies, for which you have to issue a separate policy only. There was some years before, a burglary add-on suggested, but it was not allowed. So this burglary, what we are talking about now, is a burglary after the perils operating under your 3 new products, and then your burglary within 7 days gets covered.
Ma'am, terrorism excess is there in Gೃಹ Raksha?
Terrorism compulsion.
Excess.
Yes. The terrorism excess is the same for SFSP or the new products. Whatever is given as residence and shop, and then industrial and non-industrial, 3 terrorism excess is given. Same applicable for these policies or SFSP.
Okay.
मैडम ये स्टैंडर्ड एसएफएसपी में एड ऑन कवर इन मिड में ऐड और डिलीट कर सकते हैं क्या?
एड ऑन कवर मिड में प्रोविजन है. एड ऑन कवर का एक्चुअली टैरिफ में प्रोविजन है. तो आप यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट व्हिच एड ऑन कवर in between?
Any add-on cover. If insured want to add any add-on cover in standard fire, can he add and delete?
Add का प्रोविजन है, डिलीट का नहीं है. ऐड का प्रोविजन है. अगर किसी ने इंसेप्शन पे नहीं लिया है लेकिन एड ऑन बीच में लेना है, जनरली हम परमिट नहीं करते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप टैरिफ का प्रोविजन देखोगे तो इट इज परमिटेड, बट इट इज with there are certain conditions that you have to pay for the total location. आपको पूरा sum insured पे भरना है, even if you are paying the premium after a certain period of time. There has to be a specific request from the insured in writing giving reasons. Total sum insured पे pay करना है.
It will be on short period or
partially उसमें pay नहीं करना है. ये conditions है for add-on cover.
It will be on short period or pro-rata
No,
basis?
total premium आपको देना है.
अच्छा, total premium from the start of the policy.
Yes, cover will be from your paying the premium, but total sum insured पे total annual premium भरना है. उसमें short period नहीं भरना है और specific request लेके add on को add करना है, which generally we are not permitting, but tariff provision is there. Specific request insured से लेके with reason आप add on पूरा premium लेके पूरा sum insured पे लेके आप उसको ले सकते हैं.
Okay, madam.
That was also previously as per the tariff permitted for STFI RSMB, no, लेकिन हम permit करते नहीं है because we are not the cover will start after 15 days. अगर आप STFI बीच में ऐड करते हो तो ऐसा tariff provision तो है, but we don't delete STFI itself, no. Now we compulsorily cover, so cover बीच में ऐड करने का कोई सवाल ही नहीं आता है. Shall we go for engineering?
Yes, ma'am.
10 minutes. Lecture will resume after 10 minutes.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
मैम अभी
Hello.
ब्रेक हुआ है.
There is a break of 10 minutes. Madam will be resumed shortly.
Hello. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, I want to take the whole video. Can you provide me the lectures given by the ma'am?
Madam,
Because,
it is already available on YouTube. You can visit BVKS YouTube site.
Okay.
There is a channel of BVKS on YouTube. Are you there on Telegram? If you are there on Telegram, we are sharing the link of all the videos of the means those who are not joining here, they can join on YouTube live, or and they can watch these videos later on also.
So when will this
PPTs will be shared in the Telegram group, Telegram channel.
Thank you so much.
Yesterday's PPT.
All the PPTs will be shared there.
In Telegram, Gipsa group.
Telegram BVKS 2022 group is there. On that, it will be shared.
So I'm not there. I am not there in BVKS group. Can you add me?
Madam, I need the number.
Yes, sir. I tell you, please.
I'm telling my number 8425
8425
87
87
0004.
8425
So those who are not on 8425 87 0004.
Ji, sir.
So those who are not on Telegram group, they can send me the message on WhatsApp. I will add that number in the Telegram group. Okay.
Ji, thank you so much. Thank you. Ji.
Okay.
Okay.
Yesterday PPT are not shared till now.
We are sharing all shortly, maybe in a day or two.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
सर कल वाला तो पीपीटी मिला नहीं है.
Sir, sharing all together. We will share all the PPTs together.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sir,
Yes.
please, I am not able to find your number. Please add me. I am sharing my number.
I just told my number. Na? On that, you just.
Sir, how can I find your number? Telegram पे जाके कहाँ पे आपको Telegram पे जाके आपको कहाँ पे मैंने सर्च करना है? ये नंबर कहाँ पे सर्च करूँ? किस नाम से सर्च करूँ?
No. I just shared the number. You add it in your contact and send me a WhatsApp or Telegram message, personal message. That to add in this one. Those who want, they can add my number in their contact and send me the message. Okay, then I can.
Okay.
Sir, again repeat your number.
My number is 8425 87 0004.
0004.
Telegram.
Either send me message on Telegram or WhatsApp. Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
You are audible, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Carry on.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for the little interruption due to the network issue. Now we start with the engineering insurance, and then all the presentations will be shared to you, the fire and the engineering also. Engineering insurance, as the subject is one, fire and engineering is the same subject. There can be very little on engineering or more on engineering. We cannot predict. So we see whatever we feel is important from the exam point of view on which questions can come. Okay, types of policies in engineering are project insurance policies, or what we call as construction phase policies, marine cum erection, erection all risk, contractor all risk, CPM, advanced loss of profit. These are the construction phase policies. And the other classification is the operational phase policies. So policies which are prior to operation are construction phase policies, and policies which after the construction or erection start are the operation phase policies, or the mostly they are annual policies, or they are also installed machinery policies. So machinery insurance, boiler and pressure plant, electronic equipment, deterioration of stock insurance, machinery loss of profit, and civil engineering completed risk insurance. All these policies are the operation phase policies, that they start after the construction phase gets over. So this is one type of classification. Another type of grouping is that some are all risk policies. Most of the engineering policies are all risk policies, and as they are all risk policies, or exclusions become more important. Project policies which are all risk policies are marine cum erection, erection all risk, contractor all risk, CPM, and installed machinery policy, which can be grouped in this as all risk policy, is the electronic equipment policy, and limited peril or named peril policy is boiler and pressure plant policy. Dependent policies, some policies we can call as dependent policies because they depend on some other policies. Machinery loss of profit depend on machinery insurance. DOS again dependent on machinery insurance. Advanced loss of profit dependent on CR or ER insurance. Section 3 of EEI, that is the increased cost of working section. The two sections in electronic equipment policy, the external data media and the increased cost of working, are more of only a theory. The third section of increased cost of working is a dependent section because it depends on the section 1, that is material damage. Unless there is material damage, there cannot be any increased cost of working. It does not depend on section 2, it depends on section 1. So these are some dependent policies which are depending on some other policies.
Cost of working.
But machinery insurance is all risk policy or named policy?
It's a comprehensive cover for installation, erection of machinery equipment from the time of arrival of the first consignment and terminates on completion of erection, testing, commissioning, and the plant is taken over, whichever occurs first. So either the plant is taken over and during the maintenance period also, if that is opted for. Cover starts from arrival of the first consignment, completion of erection and testing and commissioning, or when it is taken over. If it is taken over, the cover ends. There are location risk and operation risk also. Location risk is like fire, lightning, theft, and burglary. These are all risk policies. Operation risk is leakage of electricity, insulation failure, short circuit, explosion, etc. Both is covered because this is an all risk policy. Human risks are also covered, like carelessness, negligence, fault in erection, riot, strike, and malicious damage, grouped as human risk. Natural calamities like STFI, landslide, subsidence. Accidental external means like accidental falling of objects, impact damage, thereby resulting into damage of property. So you will see that all the damages are covered. It's an all risk policy. How the sum insured is to be arrived at? Sum insured should be aggregate of the following items: cost of the machinery or equipment at the landed cost, cost of erection including supervision or specialist fees, permanent civil engineering works. There could be erection being done on already existing civil engineering work. So that cost also has to be included. Half escalated value if escalation is opted for. And the escalation, like SFSP, escalation can be opted under engineering policies also. When escalation is opted, the premium rate charged is half of what is charged for erection. But the method of calculation as given in the tariff is you add half of the escalation value in the sum insured and charge the premium. It is the same whether you charge half of the premium rate or you charge the full rate on the half escalation sum insured. But method of giving, totaling the sum insured and then applying rate as given in the tariff is in this sequence. So we must remember that way. Under insurance is applicable. Third party liability risk, surrounding property, earthquake, terrorism, construction. CPM, that is construction plant and machinery, can be covered under the erection or contractor all risk policy. Extra charges for overtime, express freight, etc. Escalation is maximum 50% of your otherwise sum insured. Period of cover and testing period. Period of insurance as per the insurance requirement. It can go beyond 12 months or less than 12 months. Testing period will cease with commencement of commercial production or handing over of the plant, whichever is earlier. Maximum testing period can be 12 months and not more than that. No fire policy can be issued during the testing period for the items which are covered under SE policy. So even if the erection is completed, but testing is not completed, then standard fire policy cannot be issued till the time the testing is completed. There is installment facility. Generally, the question will be asked on installment facility. Installment facility can be given where the period of insurance is more than 12 months. The few conditions. First condition is policy should be for more than 12 months. First installment must be paid at the commencement of the cover. And the first installment will be calculated and corrected at being 5% higher than all other equal installments. So first installment higher by 5%. All other equal installments will be equal. Last installment should be paid at least 6 months prior to the expiry of the policy period. So there are three major conditions that policy must be for more than 12 months. First installment paid in the beginning. First installment should be higher by 5%. All equal installment, and last installment paid prior to 6 months prior to the expiry of the policy period. Now there is a formula, but you can keep and see later how to arrive at the each installment premium. Of course, as this is calculated through the system, we generally don't tend to calculate, but it is calculated as you give the number of installments can be arrived at. His first installment will be going to be higher by 5%. So this is a formula given, and it is given here as to what is what. So n is small n is the interval between two payments, so 3 months. Number of installments to be calculated as n capital, and first installment, how it is calculated, it is given p into 95% divided by n plus p into 5%, where p is the gross premium. So next installment will be n minus 1. So if the project period is 25 months, interval is 3 months, gross premium is 50 lakhs, then number of installments are calculated as 25 minus 6 months divided by 3 plus 1, that is 7.333, that is equal to 7 installments. First installment calculation is done on the sum insured, that is 50 lakhs into 95% divided by number of installments, and 5% added into that because the first installment is going to be higher by 5%. So by this we arrive at what is going to be your first installment and what are going to be the equal installment. So this you can even refer later carefully. Now refund for early completion of the project. There is a provision for early completion of project. And what are the conditions for early completion of the project? Period of insurance is 18 months or above. So less than 18 months, refund of early completion of project is not allowed. Notice given to the insurer before commencement of the testing. And in any case, not later than 7 days after commencement of testing. Claim experience should be less than 60%. Minimum refund should be for 3 months. Allowed only after reworking of premium on the reduced policy period. So these conditions are important. First is period of insurance should be 18 months or more, and the refund claim should be minimum for 3 months, and the notice should be given before the testing starts, or at least maximum not later than 7 days after commencement of the testing. And when the refund is to be given, how it will be worked out. If the period of insurance is 18 months and if the refund is required for 4 months, then the period becomes 14 months. So reworking of premium for 14 months, because there is a scale of calculation of rating for first 2 months, then additional months. So that way the premium is calculated for ER. So similarly, premium will be reworked for the months that the policy is going to be in force. So refund is not calculated on pro rata or short period like that. Here it will be reworked as if the policy period was, like if you are giving refund for 4 months, your policy period becomes 14 months. So 14 months premium has to be reworked and refund given. So conditions are important. 18 months.
Madam, any claim is there also, we can
minimum
refund?
Period of refund should be 3 months and reworking of the premium.
Madam, any claim is there also, can we refund?
Add-on covers under erection policy. Increase in the policy period, that is if the policy period opted is like suppose 12 months and later work is not completed, then it can be increased. Removal of debris, contractors, plant and machinery, third party liability, surrounding property, escalation, these provisions are there. Earthquake, terrorism. Dismantling cover for second hand machinery. Sometimes erected machinery needs to be dismantled and again re-erected. So in such cases, the dismantling cover can be given and some premium charged for that, which is going to be 60% of the original rate. Testing period for 1 month is covered in the basic premium. We are charging 1 + 1 month period, first slab of premium. So testing period for 1 month is covered in the basic premium. Rate charged for storage cum erection is charged for TPL also, same rate. Escalation is maximum 50%. 50% of the rate or 50% of the sum insured is considered for rating. Surrounding property, 50% of the rate. TPL entire rate is charged, whereas for surrounding property, 50% of the storage cum erection rate is to be charged. If the machinery is mix of some old and new machineries, then 50% rate applicable for the new machinery will be considered. Additional rate for dismantling, as we have seen in the last slide, that 60% of the total rate is charged for dismantling. Add-on covers, 50-50 clause. We have to just understand what are these clauses. 50-50 clauses where it is not possible to establish whether the damage was caused before or after the arrival of the consignment. In other words, it means that whether the loss is on the marine policy or it is on the erection policy. In such cases, 50-50 apportion will be done if there is doubt or not clear as to where the loss falls, whether it falls in the marine policy or if it has happened after unloading of the consignment at the site. 72 hours clause for storm, tempest and earthquake. When the incident happens once again, second incident within 72 hours, then it will be treated as one event. Automatic reinstatement by paying some extra premium at the inception of the policy. The premium, always the sum insured will remain the same and no premium to be charged or collected after the happening of the claim or after settling the claim. Loss minimization expenses. Professional fees, that is architect surveyor's fees. Cost of offsite storage or fabrication. TPL cover, cross liability. What is cross liability? Now there is in case of ER policy or CR policy, insured can be one or more than one also. When there are more than one insured and sometimes there is a TP liability falling on the insured covered under the policy. So when there are covered persons, technically we say that person who is the insured under the policy cannot claim on the insured covered in the policy itself. So in case there is a cross liability, that any third party liability arising in respect of parties who are named in the first schedule shall apply as if a separate policy has been issued to each party. So both TP liability, even if it is falling against a person named in the policy as an insured, will also be treated, and policies though one with two insureds will be treated as if two policies are there and both claims will be entertained. So that is the cross liability. When the liability, third party liability falling on a person covered under the policy itself, then both our persons are shown under the policy as insured. However, still the claim will be treated independently for both the insureds. Waiver of contribution can be there. Escalation we have seen. Waiver of subrogation. Expediting cost. What is expediting cost? Any cost incurred like overtime, transportation, safeguarding, which can expedite the recovery or reduce the loss further. Extended maintenance cover. This we have to see. Continuity of cover and the DE 1, 2, 3 and 4. Design defect covers 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the some points on which some questions can come. What is design defect cover? First we have to understand that 1, 2, 3, 4. The one it excludes when there is a one exclusion in the policy is that when there is some damage due to defect in the design, that portion gets excluded. However, damage to the other can get covered under the policy. This design defect cover exclusion is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. DE1, one example is given that there is a RCC column fails because the inner steel supporting rod is defective. So the defect is in the inner rod and the column fails. Column fails, so roof collapses. Because roof collapses, the floor also gets damaged. So there is a rod, there is a column, there is a roof, and there is a floor. So the sequence of damage is that defect in the rod, column damage, then floor damage, then roof damage, and then ultimately as a result, floor is also damaged. So floor is the most unconnected part. Next is the roof, which is little bit connected. Column is directly connected to the defect, and rod is the actual defected part. So the various clauses that DE1 will exclude all damages because there is design defect. It's an outright defect exclusion clause. DE2 covers the floor because it is the most unconnected or the distant part, but doesn't cover the roof or the column. DE3 will cover the floor and the roof, but will not cover the column. DE4 will cover the floor, the roof and the column, but will not cover the supporting rod itself, which is a defective part. So the defective part gets completely excluded, but everything else other than the defective part will get covered. So the column within which the rod was there is also getting covered, the floor and the roof. Now DE5 will cover even the defective part. That, however, any improved defective part, the defective part, if it is now the rod which is there, it has caused some defect. So if an improved part is replaced, then that is not covered. But the rod, defected rod also gets covered. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can remember as 1 excludes everything. 2 will cover the most distant part of the floor, which is not connected. 3 will cover floor plus the roof which is little bit connected, touching the column. 3 will cover even the column and the roof and the floor. 4 will cover the, it will cover the column also. So it is covering the column within which the rod is there. Column, roof, floor, everything is covered. And if everything is covered, including the rod, then it is the DE5. However, it will still exclude any improvement in the defective part. So this is DE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can be asked. Now exclusions. Among the exclusions, faulty design is excluded, defective material is excluded, bad workmanship is excluded, rectification of defects is excluded. The cost of rectification of defects will be excluded. Willful act, manufacturer's guarantee, if there is some part or some product, it is again excluded. But due to the faulty design or defective material, these are the exclusions. Because exclusions become more important because erection policy is otherwise a all risk policy. Willful negligence, consequential loss, penalties, loss due to delay, lack of performance, or loss of the contract because of delay, not covered. In case of what is the CCPP, sometimes this abbreviation can be asked. CCPP is the combined cycle power plant, gas turbine power station. It is a combination of gas turbine station and the steam power station. So applicable for a combined cycle power plant, excess as applicable for gas turbine section shall be the existing excess as given, and for the steam section, the excess as per the steam power plant is applicable. So two separate excess applicable for CCPP. Even the full form is can be asked as to what is CCPP. Hot and cold testing. I think every exam there will be this question will be there. What is hot and cold testing? So cold testing is checking the parts and elements of the insured by mechanical, electrical, hydrostatic or other forms of testing under no load condition. So no load condition is cold testing, and under partial or full load is the hot testing. Commissioning, operational and commission. So this is the testing part where it is done under no load condition, it is cold testing. When it is done under with the partial or full load, then it is the hot testing. Now there can be, what we have seen is the erection policy. Now erection policy can be either storage cum erection or it can be marine cum erection. Traditionally, two separate covers are given. By combining the two covers, there is the advantage of uninterrupted, comprehensive, seamless cover. Offloading at ports or storage at bonded warehouse, transporters go down can be covered. Inland transit can be given up to the erection site, including transshipment or intermediate storage. Unloading, storage, handling at the erection site will be covered. If we give separate marine and erection policy, we have seen one clause of 50-50 clause. As the loss is there, we don't know whether it is falling on the marine or it's falling on the erection policy. All such doubts will not be there or difficulties will not be there if it's a marine cum erection policy, because marine also is covered under us and erection is also covered under us. Then whether the damage is in marine or it is in the erection, it can be covered. Then in between any storage is there, that can be covered. Otherwise, in case of marine, the terms and conditions will be different. Once it is unloaded, the cover will end. Then where the erection starts and when the marine ends. So this little bit of gap will not be there if we give a continuous cover of marine cum erection. If there are two different insurers of marine and erection, then where the loss is falling will be a matter of doubt. It will be more convenient if you give marine cum erection policy. In case of two policies, inspection will be required sometimes at the, if there is a gap in the marine unloading and sending to the site for erection. Damages also, whether it falls on which policy. Need for additional policies can be eliminated where suppliers marine policy, if it gives some limited cover, like the custom duty is not covered or suppliers policy is not a policy, it's an B policy. Then in such cases, the marine cum erection policy will remove all these difficulties. Competitive premium also can be given because we have both the covers with us. Now, CR policy is much similar to the ER policy. It is also an all risk policy. Where the civil work is more than 50%, then it's a CR policy. Erection policy and CR policy have similar covers. Where the civil work is more than 50%, then we go for a CR policy, contractors all risk policy. Then clearance and removal of debris, plant and equipment can be covered, third party, surrounding property. The add-on covers are also same. Now sum insured, estimated completely erected value, including material, wages, supervision cost, freight, custom duty, and material supplied by principal. Sometimes the contract is given, but some part of the material can be supplied by the principal also. So whether what is it will be beyond the contract price, the labor or the contract price will be constant, but the material what insured has to purchase may be less because some part of material has been given provided. Sometimes like solar plant erection, the principal might supply the solar plants and ask the contractor to only erect. So there could be material which is supplied by principal that also has to be added in the sum insured, because loss can take place to whether material is supplied by principal or material is brought by the contractor. And the policy will also be given in such cases in the joint name of principal and contractor. There is a provision. CPM, we know new replacement value, TPL cover is given. Under insurance is applicable for all engineering policies. After the claim, the sum insured to be reinstated. This is compulsory for all engineering policies. Now, maintenance cover, there are two. One is limited maintenance cover and one is extended maintenance cover. We have to understand the difference. Generally, what is opted is extended maintenance cover and not the limited maintenance cover or visits maintenance cover. Now, there is an erection period and there is a maintenance period. So in the erection period, the erection is completed, then the maintenance period starts. So in the maintenance period, there are certain job or obligations of the contractor. If there is some damage in the maintenance period from the contract given for maintenance, whatever is the obligation under the maintenance time, if there is any damage in the maintenance work, then that is the limited maintenance cover or visit maintenance cover. Extended maintenance is a wider cover. In addition to the above, which means what is given above is already covered. That is, when the erection period or construction period is over, maintenance work has started. So any loss or damage that is happening in the maintenance work, that is covered above, so that also gets covered. In addition to that, extended maintenance cover also provides for loss or damage occurring during the maintenance period, provided such loss or damage was caused on the site during the construction period. So it means there was some defect which had taken place in the construction period and which results into a loss in the maintenance period. So the cause is not the maintenance period, it is only revealed in the maintenance period. What was the cause of loss actually? It has taken place in the construction period. So in the construction period, there is some defect, and so the either the building or the wall was constructed in a defect, and that falls in the maintenance period. Then where is the defect? Defect has taken place, so the cause is actually in the construction period, but which could not be noticed in the construction period. So the result falls in the maintenance period. So that is the wider cover of extended maintenance cover. So extended maintenance covers the visit maintenance cover. That is the loss which takes place due to the obligations for complying with the maintenance provision. Additionally, what is covered in the extended maintenance is the some defect which has actually caused the loss in the, like that cause of loss is already there in the construction period, but result is in the maintenance period. That is the extended maintenance additional cover. CR policy, the examples of project, residence, factories, we are aware of this, canals, dams. all risk, namely, it's all risk policy, CR, ER, both are all risk. Fire, lightning, riot, strike, malicious damage, bad workmanship, burglary, theft, accidental, external means, everything is covered. Damage to the existing property, existing, that is existing, damage to the existing property. That is when something is constructed under a CR policy or even erected under a ER policy, there could be some existing foundation or construction which is already there. We have seen the components of sum insured, that existing property gets added. It gets added in the sum insured. It's supposed to be added in the sum insured, one of the components of sum insured. So that damage to the existing property also, provided it is covered in the sum insured, that is also covered. Contractors, plant and machinery, removal of debris, additional expenditure for any extra wages or express freight, additional custom duty. Normal freight for bringing the material is covered, but any air freight or express freight has to be covered as add-on. Custom duty, legal liability to the third party, escalation, any temporary works. While doing any construction or erection work, some temporary sheds or even sometimes roads are constructed. So that can also be covered. Now, what is exclusion? Loss or damage due to faulty design, wear and tear, deterioration, inventory losses, war and allied perils, willful negligence. Cost of repairs, replacement or rectification of the defective material. However, this exclusion not applicable to correctly executed items. What we understand by this? If there is some defective material, because of which there is a loss, that loss becomes payable, but correcting the defective material, cost of correcting the defect is not payable. Cost necessary for correcting any error during the construction, unless resulting into physical loss or damage. The resultant is always paid, the cause is not paid. Loss or damage to vehicles, packing materials, like crates and boxes and cases. It's only the material required for construction that gets covered. Adjustment of sum insured. One important clause. Sum insured is adjustable at the end of the policy period of construction on the basis of actual values declared by the insured in respect of freight and handling charges, custom duty, construction cost, and the premium is to be suitably adjusted. However, any increase or decrease in the prime cost of material is not subject to premium adjustment. Except the prime cost, everything else can be adjusted. Major hazards are just, these are some examples as to what can be the risks in underground, what can be the, this even you can imagine and think of quite a common understanding, like what will be the risk associated with the road construction. You can just go through, like bridges, for example. Then third party liability is very important, because if there is something collapsing while the bridge is being constructed. So from the nature of the work, you can understand what can be the hazards. Now, machinery policy. Machinery policy, all electrical and non-electrical, mechanical and chemical items like motors, transformers, diesel, DG sets, boilers, blowers, etc. can be covered against sudden accidental loss due to vibration, maladjustments, falling, impact, collision, and the like, obstruction or entry of foreign bodies into the machine. All risk is any accidental sudden loss which causes mechanical or electrical breakdown or physical loss or damage will get covered. But there are exclusions are important. Okay, losses.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Faulty material, design, construction, erection, vibration, malalignment, maladjustment, defective lubrication, loosening of parts, stress, explosion due to centrifugal force, internal pressure, failure of insulation, so resulting into electrical breakdown, human failures like lack of skill, lack of knowledge, negligence, all covered any unforeseen or sudden damage due to all the causes is covered. Cover will apply whether the machine is at work or at rest, whether it is being dismantled for cleaning or overhauling. Though it is said that it is being dismantled for cleaning or overhauling, only policy during this period should not be taken, because a policy is taken for a year and then in between the policy period there could be some cleaning or overhauling. But only when for overhauling period the cover should not start. During this operation also it's covered. When being shifted within the premises also there can be damage. During the subsequent erection also there can be damage. Again, machines and their associated hazards, you can just go through this for you can understand from the nature of work that they do. Various hazards which are associated with the type of machinery. So premium rates charged for machinery, 4 different sets of rates are there: mechanical items, electrical items, cold storage or ice plants, and fertilizer or petrochemical or refineries. So machinery rates are divided into 4 parts: mechanical, electrical, cold storage or ice plants, and fertilizer or petrochemical plants. Policy should not be issued if MB proposal is received only in the overhauling period, either on short period or annual basis. We can wait till the overhauling is completed. So though it is covered in between the policy, it is not covered for starting the policy. The extensions available are to the foundation of machinery. So foundation of machinery also should be covered in the sum insured, not only the cost of the machinery. Sum insured should include the cost of foundation and tariff rate applied. Express freight, holiday and overtime rates. Additional rates shall be the average rate applied on the limit selected. Air freight only or custom duty, this can be selected for additional premium. Exclusions are important. Here we have seen that all type of losses, electrical, mechanical, human error, whether at rest or working or it is being dismantled, everything is covered. So what is not covered? Fire and allied perils is not covered under the machinery insurance policy. If machinery is exposed to fire, then that will be covered under a fire policy. Internal fire due to electrical fault in electrical equipment is covered. So as we have seen yesterday under the fire, the exclusion 7. So that is getting covered here, which gets excluded under the fire policy. Explosion due to centrifugal force or internal pressure is covered. War is excluded. Nuclear risk. So in though this says exclusion,
Excuse me, ma'am.
The 2 coverage are given within the exclusions. War, nuclear is excluded. Experiments or overload or such similar tests are excluded.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Gradually developing flaws or defects or cracks, which is the wear and tear, is not covered. Normal wear and tear, willful negligence, consequential loss, defects existing before insurance, damage due to faults or defects for which manufacturer is responsible, exchangeable parts, non-metallic parts, operating media, coating of the metal part. These are some exclusions which is not covered. So exchangeable parts, non-metallic parts, and excluding the electrical insulation, operating media, coating of metal parts. These exclusions are important. Sum insured of each individual item must represent its new replacement value. Actually, engineering all policies, you can say it is the new replacement value, never covered at market value. It should include freight, custom duty, erection and installation cost also of the machinery sum insured. Now, there can be refund for the standstill period. Minimum 3 months standstill period, if it is there, then refund can be given. But reasons can be non-availability of raw material, power shortage. For boilers, standby machines should be available. In case of continuous process plants, any breakdown and the plant cannot run, hence refund is to be considered. Claims experience should be less than 60%. Not applicable for seasonal industries like sugar industry, because Sugar industries machineries are used only in a season. So this refund of standstill period is not applicable where the industry itself is working for a short period. Industry which is working throughout the year, if there is a standstill period due to the reasons given here, refund can be given if there is claim experience is low. CPM, that is all the machineries which can be covered under the either under CRER policy or it can be independently covered under the CPM policy. Cranes, bumpers, excavators, tunnel boring machines which are used for erection or construction of the project. CPM policy is issued as an extension of the mother policy or separate policy. Sum insured above 5%, separate policy issued. That is basic policy, sum insured up to 5% can be covered within that policy. Additional, a separate policy has to be covered. All risk policy. When they are at work again or being dismantled or cleaning, are classified into 5 groups. The groups machineries are classified into 5 types of machinery, 5 groups for the rating purpose. In the CPM, there are mobile machineries or there can be plants also, some stationary machines, some mobile machines. Exclusions become important. Electrical or mechanical breakdown is not covered. So CPM cover is somewhat like the motor policy. Mechanical, electrical breakdown is not covered. Consumables are not covered. Ropes, belts, chains, knives, wear and tear. Underground is an exclusion for other machines, but when machines are used for tunneling, then that cannot be an exclusion. Loss or damage in transit and war and allied perils. It can be covered, CPM can be covered on all India basis. However, transit between different places will not be covered. It will have to be covered under the marine policy. Full description has to be given where locations, different locations have to be given, but shifting between 2 locations is not covered, but shifting within the site is covered under the policy. In one site also machine may be required, CPM machinery may be required within a little different distance, but the site is the same, that is covered. But if it is going from one location to entirely different location, then that the premium also has to be charged as per the higher EQ zone applicable, and the floater cover 10% extra. All locations must be given in the policy, and in between transit between locations will have to be covered under a marine policy. Then boiler and pressure plant policy. This is a named peril policy. This is not a all risk policy. Boilers and pressure vessels. Scope of cover is explosion and collapse. Other than by fire.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Fire to the boiler is covered under fire policy. There are 2 extensions. That is, we can give TP cover and surrounding property. Surrounding property.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, machinery insurance policy is a named peril or all risk policy?
Machinery is a not a it is a all risk policy. However, the exclusions are important.
All risk
fire
policy
is an exclusion. Yes, but fire is an exclusion. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So BPP is also a named peril. BPP is a named peril policy. Legal liability for death or that is TP, injury or property of the third party can be covered, and surrounding property can be covered. Sum insured has to be the current replacement value. So that is applicable for all policies. Escalation up to 25% can be given. Extension, surrounding property, damage to third party. Now some statutory regulations are important when it comes to BPP policy. Insured boiler should be certified by the boiler inspector. Boilers being operated by persons holding valid license certificates. permission to use the boiler from the authority by the boiler inspector, and if the maximum pressure or load upon the safety valve immediately prior to any explosion or collapse was in excess of the stipulated limit, the insured shall not be entitled for any compensation. This is an important condition, that load should not be more as observed at the time of loss, that the load was more, then the claim can be rejected. Otherwise, the use of the certificate, there should be a valid certificate, and authority to use the boiler permission is important. Loss or damage due to fire is not covered. Damage by chemical explosion, except in recovery boilers and waste heat boilers. Wear and tear is not covered. Failure of individual tubes is not covered. Then all these policies, what we have seen, are the base policies. And as we have seen FLOP, there is
Excuse me,
MLOP.
ma'am?
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is excess clause in boiler policy? Boiler pressure
is
plant
no-
policy?
Yes, now there is excess under boiler policy also. Previously, there was no excess. That circular we will share, that fire and engineering excess. Okay. You can go through that circular now. Previously, there was no excess for boiler, but now there is excess for boiler also. Okay. We'll send that.
Ma'am, please share all the excesses in applicable in CAR, EAR.
Yes, yes.
Can you
That's,
share?
yes. We'll share today. We will share today the engineering presentation, fire presentation, and the IRDA circular of fire and engineering excess.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, we'll share that circular itself.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Now this policy MLOP is similar to FLOP. Rating part is little different. In fire FLOP, we apply the fire rate to the FLOP. But in MLOP, it is not like that. It is not the same rate that you are applying to the machinery. It has to be various adverse features or favorable features have to be seen before deciding the rate for MLOP. Now, the policy covers loss of gross profit. After breakdown of a critical machine, the actual cost for replacing the damaged part may not be very huge, but following losses may follow. No profit, that is, the material damage may be less, but the profit may be, loss of profit may be more. This is more risky for acceptance or issuing policy than your FLOP also. The standing expense, standing charges and increased cost of working is payable, similar to FLOP. In the concept, there is not much difference. There is a MBD policy compulsorily. Then there is accidental breakdown of the machinery. Claim should be admissible. Then cause of interruption in production process should be there, which should result into reduction in the turnover and which can be made good in the maximum indemnity period, and it will result into loss of gross profit, similar to FLOP. It starts from the MBD policy, damage to the machine, claim, then reduction in turnover and loss of gross profit. Who can take this policy? Insured should have a MB policy. Risk is for gross profit. Net loss situations can also be covered, but no insurance cover if there is a gross loss. Yesterday we have seen when there will be net profit or when there will be net loss. So net loss situation can be covered because there will be gross, at least gross profit. But if the turnover is so less and the expenses are so much excess that there is gross loss, then the policy cannot be given. Loss, when the gross loss will arise? When the turnover of the risk is not sufficient to even meet the manufacturing expenses. Even if the variable expenses also cannot be met, then it will result into gross loss. What insurance will pay? Loss of net profit following the reduction in the turnover. Yesterday we have seen the example also. There is reduction in turnover resulting into net profit loss. Fixed expenses are still being incurred. Increased cost of working additionally will be incurred, and in additionally there could be saving in some fixed expenses in the indemnity period, which will be that saving will reduce the claim. Turnover, what we have seen yesterday, it is the same thing, fixed cost plus variable plus net profit, or in other words, gross profit is the turnover minus variable cost. Gross profit can also be said as standing plus net profit, standing charges plus net profit. Gross profit, if there is net loss, it will be standing charges minus net loss. Rate of gross profit is the rate of gross profit earned on the output or the turnover last year. Standard output is the output in the period 12 months, starting from in the 12 months, which corresponds with the indemnity period. Annual output is the exactly 12 months before the date of damage. This is all repetition, right? Annual output is exactly 1 year before the loss. Standard output is that output in the previous year, which corresponds with your indemnity period. Rate of gross profit, first calculated on the actual turnover of the last financial year, then applied on the reduced turnover. Adjustment shall be done for trend in business, variations or special circumstances. Sum insured will be the gross profit expected based on the last accounting figures. Then increase or decreasing, the gross profit can be adjusted, taken on a higher side. It's just the repetition we have seen in FLOP last year. MLOP premium rate will not be simply the machine rate like in fire. It's of relative importance, will have to be seen. Some machines will be more important, some may be standby machines. So what is the relative importance of the machine? Insured machine in relation to the final product, how important is that machine and in comparison to other machines, and whether there is any standby machinery will reduce the relative importance and whether it will reduce your interruption period. The machineries, when they are covered for MLOP, it has to be seen how important the machinery is, whether there is any standby machine. If there is standby machine, then it will reduce the indemnity period. These are all the good features. Depending on that, the indemnity period will be decided, and depending on that, the even the loss, estimated loss will be decided and rate will be decided. Like if the machine for which MLOP is...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, for standby machine, there will be any insurance premium discount?
Yes. Yes, there will be.
What is the percentage of that?
No,
Not fixed.
not fixed. And I think the standby machine discount, though it is given for MLOP, the factor has to be seen as to whether the machine which you are covering for MLOP. Yes. Hello, can you hear?
And there will be insurance for the standby machine in MLOP.
See, standby machine has to be always insured, right? It is not that standby machine is not insured. Standby machine, why discount is given? Because standby machine is not used all the time. There is one machine. If it is required, only then it is used. Otherwise, it is kept as a standby machine. The machine which works all the time 24/7. Yes. Others, please mute yourself. जो unmute हो गया वो mute कर लीजिए. Yes. So standby machine को क्यों discount दिया जाता है? Because standby machine is not used all the time. So MLOP जब दे रहे हैं, तो अगर आपका machine जो है, that machine, if it is a very important machine, उसको कोई standby machine नहीं है, तो फिर आपका indemnity period जो है, that will increase. Because it will take time to repair that machine and start the work again. So interruption period या indemnity period जो है, that will increase if that machine is very important and has no standby machine. But if there is standby machine, your interruption period will reduce. So that will help in rating the MLOP. Indemnity period is the period, the breakdown of insured machine. This can be equal to or less than the policy period, right? And your indemnity period need not be same as the policy period. Time excess in breakdown policy, this MLOP policy, it is not the excess in amount, it is the excess in the number of days. Same for FLOP and MLOP. Loss of profit standalone policy with MBD cover. 14 days of standard gross profit is the time excess for MLOP. Now, deterioration of stock in the cold storage is an exclusion under the basic policy, but which is an engineering policy. This separate policy is there for deterioration of stock in cold storage. This is somewhat a loss of profit policy only, similar to loss of profit, or a resultant policy based on the machinery policy. When there is a machinery policy, damage to the machinery payable under the policy, but there is a resultant damage to the contents in the cold storage, for either it is a separate for potatoes and fish or seafood and other dairy products. Contamination or putrefaction and deterioration after the breakdown of the refrigerating unit. Understand the policy. Now, when this will happen? It will happen when the cold storage machinery is subject to, there is a machinery, there is a claim, admissible claim covering the cold storage machine. Then when there is a damage to the cold storage machine, there will be a rise or fall in the temperature in the cold storage chamber, resulting into breakdown of refrigerating machine. Now, the sum insured will be the maximum value of stock in the cold storage. Their extension and exclusions, we see failure of electric supply at terminal end due to machinery breakdown, at local
Ma'am, not audible.
into the change in the temperature within the cold storage. So, losses which are not covered are shrinkage, inherent defects, improper storage, insufficiency of air, willful act or excess or franchise as stipulated in the policy. Then there is the deterioration of stock. There are two covers. One is of failure of electric supply at the supplier or failure of electric supply at the insured, which is resulting due to damage to the machinery and resulting into fluctuation in the temperature and spoiling the contents. Electronic equipment policy. We are aware of this policy. It's an all risk policy. Fire, burglary, everything is covered. What is important here is that the section 1 is the material damage section, and about the section 2 and 3, we generally tend to forget because we never give the cover of section 2 and 3. But for the exam purpose, cover for material damage to external data media and cover for increased cost of working. That is, the sum insured shall be the amount required for replacing the lost of the damaged data from the new material by new material, and for such cost required to backup for this data, that is the external data media. And following the breakdown of equipment, additional cost may be incurred for substituted equipment, persons, or cost of transportation. That is the increased cost of working. However, increased cost of working will result or will be required only when there is a damage to the machinery as per section 1. Then only the section 3 will come into picture. Exclusions, wear and tear, defects, war, willful act, loss or damage to the bulb, consequential loss of any kind, There can be repairs, cost of dismantling, re-erection, no deduction for depreciation. In case of repairs, no deduction for depreciation, but total replacement, there will be deduction of depreciation. So all engineering policies, there is no depreciation for the partial loss, but total loss, there will be depreciation. Indemnity for all expenses for a period of 12 months, increased cost of working, additional expenditure. Reinstatement of sum insured is required. All policies. This we are aware and we need not see for the exam, because EI can be covered under fire policy and also electronic equipment policy. Technically, there is a discount if it is covered under fire policy.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in reinstatement value policy, and it can pertain to like engineering or fire, there is no depreciation, but compulsory access will be there.
Yes, yes. Compulsory access is there. Yes, yes. Whether it's a reinstatement policy or market value policy, excess is independent of policy sum insured basis.
Okay, ma'am.
CECR, these policies we are not issuing, but you have to just see in brief for the exam purpose. Civil engineering completed risk insurance. Comprehensive insurance protection against loss or damage after the construction has been completed. It's a named peril policy. Impact by waterborne vessels, aircraft, earthquake, storm, flood. So all fire perils and earthquake, storm, frost, avalanche, vandalism, because we don't cover these perils under our fire policies. This is there in the, actually it is there in the tariff, but these policies are not issued. These are the perils which are covered, fire and other perils. We don't cover impact by waterborne vehicles, waterborne vehicles or vehicles under the fire policy. Mainly waterborne is not uncovered. This frost is not uncovered, and that's why this special 1 or 2 perils are there in this policy theoretically. There are certain exclusions. ALOP is something that we have to see at least in brief. MLOP or FLOP is post loss. There is a material damage cover payable under the policy, fire or engineering policy. Resultant gross profit or net profit standing charges payable under your MLOP or FLOP. This we know by now. Now, what is ALOP? ALOP is the advanced loss of profit policy. This is connected to your CAR or ER policy. And when it is combined with marine, then it is called as DSU or delay in startup. Okay. Now, it can be only given to the principal. Otherwise, CR, we say that it can be given to principal or to the contractor also. But ALOP is only to the principal or owner of the project, because he is the one who is going to suffer due to the, now this cover is in brief, there is some loss taking place before the project starts, and that loss results into delay in the commencement of the project. Now what happens is, because delay in the commencement of the project, it will result into delay in starting the business, and so delay in the profit that he would have acquired if the business had started, if the factory had commenced at the right time. So ALOP policy covers financial loss due to delay in starting the project itself, because of loss or damage to the project arising out of insured peril of the project during transit, storage, erection or commissioning phase of the project. So like your FLOP and MLOP are connected to fire policy or your machinery policy, ALOP policy is connected to your CAR or ER policy. CR or ER policy is opted. Also ALOP policy can be opted. So physical loss or damage payable under CR policy or ER policy. Delay due to the loss taking place in the CR or the ER policy results into loss of profit. Now when When will the loss of profit will be known? When the actual commencement of the project will be there. So it is a loss of consequential loss and financial consequential loss due to a delay, estimated commercial operation date, COD, because of accidental damage to the project material, admissible under your CAR or ER policy. What will be the consequences? Because there is a delay in the project, short-term flow, profitability of the long-term cash flow, growth, and again standing charges and expenses during the delay period. Financial losses in the form of expenses like loan, debentures, wages, salaries, anticipated gross profit. So it is difficult to assess. Okay, easy to study, but very practically it's difficult because gross profit, no previous experience or statistics of gross profit is available. Like for FLOP or MLOP, we have last year's gross profit, last year's turnover, and last year's all expenses balance sheet from which it can be arrived at. But in case of a project which is yet to start, the profit will be the anticipated profit. Generally, this is taken from the nature of the project, what it is going to manufacture, what amount of loan is opted for, what is the anticipated turnover, what kind of manufacturing unit it is. Considering all this, the anticipated gross profit will be insured. So this policy is also known as delay in startup DSU when it is connected generally to marine policy. How marine is connected to ALOP or DSU? There is a transit, then there is a erection, or there is transit and there is CR or ER policy. Before that, there is marine. We have seen marine come erection. So when there is some delay due to marine, some major plant, yes.
If this delay is because of insured peril or any event?
Insured peril, which is payable under the policy.
मैडम ALOP में मैडम ALOP में अगर फाइनेंसर अगर होते हैं तो प्रिंसिपल एंड फाइनेंसर के नाम पे दे सकते हैं.
प्रिंसिपल और फाइनेंसर हो सकता है, बट प्रिंसिपल एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर नहीं हो सकता है, राइट? बिकॉज प्रिंसिपल ही तो लॉस होगा ना. सो डीले जो है वो डीले होता है तो पेरिल. सी ऑल अवर कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल लॉस पॉलिसीज, वेदर इट इज FLOP, MLOP और ALOP, they are connected to some of our policies. They are not independent policies. So जब आपका ALOP is connected to CR and ER policy, then there has to be a loss payable under that policy. Only then there is a delay due to the loss falling and covered under the policy, which results into your ALOP loss payable under the policy. So there cannot be a delay due to like material not available or some government regulations not complied and the starting of the project is delayed. बीच में रुक जाता है, जैसे कोविड हो गया तो काम रुक गया, वेदर कंडीशन खराब है तो काम बंद कर दिया. So these are not the reasons for ALOP. ALOP के लिए the reason has to be a material damage payable under your CR or ER policy. Now, if it is a marine delay due to marine transit, like a big some machine is going to be erected, and when it is coming in transit, there is some major loss because of some bridge collapse or something, and your marine claim is payable. But because that is a major part of the project, if the machine does not reach itself, then the project cannot start. So this is connected to your marine DSU. So the loss has to be payable under our one of the policies. Only then ALOP will result. However, in ALOP, it is not necessary that one loss. The one loss, it is rectified, then the work starts, again there is a loss, again there is delay. So there may be many delays. But once then the work commences or starts, then only the period is decided So there can be many occasions of delay, but claim is going to be only one. There cannot be many ALP claims under one project. So material damage is an exclusion because material damage is covered under your material damage policy. Unsatisfactory repairs from the client's viewpoint causing delay and consequential loss, provided such repairs are proper as per the surveyor or classification societies. Standard exclusions will be inventory loss, loss damage to the surrounding property, plant and equipment, restrictions of public authority, non-availability of funds, delay in the shipment of the supply. So there is no marine loss, but the consignment has not reached. Consignment is not available, machinery is not available. Schedule goes wrong, cancellation of license, strikes, stoppage of work, which we can imagine. All these reasons cannot be a delay for ALOP. Now, if you see this slide, you will know fundamentals of ALOP. ALOP policy is mainly given to the principal. Concurrent material damage insurance has to be there. Same insurer for ALOP and MD. Insurance period identical to the erection period. Only one claim under the policy, irrespective of number of incidents. Only one time excess because there will be only one in loss. There cannot be many losses under ALOP policy. But under your FLOP or MLOP, there can be more than one claim under a policy. Indemnity period should be sufficiently long to take care of maximum delay that can occur due to a worst possible accident during transit or construction phase. This is just an advice because if it is a huge machine that is coming and if there is damage, then it can happen that it takes 6 months to delay to start the project. So that is just the anticipation or calculation by the insured. This we have seen how gross profit or net profit comes, so we will not repeat it. Now ALOP, the unique feature of ALOP is that there is only going to be one insured, one completion date, that is COD. Completion date is going to be only one delay, irrespective of number of accidents. Delay is going to be calculated only once when the actual commencement date will start ultimately. Okay, so delay is not calculated again and again and again for many claims. Delay will be ultimately calculated, a very complicated working, not an easy job, but number of delays may be due to various incidents, but the amount of delay or number of days delay, period of delay will be calculated only when the commencement starts. Overall delay will be calculated. One indemnity resulting from lost revenue, one time excess, and one claim under the policy. Okay. Now we have certain questions, but we have covered. So if there is some questions you can ask, then you can go through all these questions for fire, engineering. All questions are there in both the slides. You can go through, even the answers are marked. If there is some doubt or if there is some suggestion or some clarification in the answer, then we can discuss on that.
मैम
Yes.
मैम गृह रक्षा सुरक्षा पॉलिसी में आपने बताया कि नो एक्सेस, लेकिन उसके बाद फिर टेररिज्म एक्सेस एप्लीकेबल होता है
इसमें
गृह रक्षा पॉलिसी में?
टेररिज्म एक्सेस तो होगा, दैट इज,
लेकिन मैम पॉलिसी
फायर के लिए एक्सेस नहीं होगा.
ओके,
फायर एक्सेस नहीं होगा.
ओके मैम.
टेररिज्म एक्सेस में तो आपके जो रेसिडेंस है उसका अलग एक्सेस है, आपका इंडस्ट्रियल एंड नॉन इंडस्ट्रियल 3 एक्सेस दिए हुए हैं, वो तो अप्लाई होंगे.
मैडम व्हाट इज द टाइम एक्सेस अंडर ALOP?
Yes.
How much?
Yes.
It is 14 days or?
That is also given under your circular. It will be 7 or 14. But it is better that आप उसको circular advance loss of profit time excess is 45 days for the first year plus 1 day for each erection month in addition to 12 months not exceeding 75 days.
So is it different for each company or it's a?
No. This is IRDA circular. So we'll be forwarding engineering, excess, ALOP and FLOP, MLOP, all excess and fire excess. This circular is there of 1st April 2011. There is no change. This is applicable to all companies. The circular हम आपको भेज देंगे. PPT circular.
Like other excess, amount wise excess, when there is a claim, estimated claim or final admissible claim, we reduce a claim amount by excess amount. Similarly, if for this loss of profit or any MLOP policy.
नहीं. When there is time excess का मतलब ही अलग है ना. Time excess का क्या मतलब होता है? अगर time excess है तो उतने दिन का लॉस कैलकुलेट होता ही नहीं है. उतने दिन का लॉस हम देंगे ही नहीं. ये मतलब है ना टाइम एक्सेस का.
That means if the time the stoppage of work is
like your आपका लॉस अगर जैसे इसमें दिया है I just read 45 days का है इसमें. It is much more than your FLOP और MLOP, right? So अगर आपका जैसे आप FLOP लोगे 7 दिन का टाइम एक्सेस का मतलब है अगर आपका इंडेमनिटी पीरियड जो होता है वो 6 दिन हो गया तो आपको कोई क्लेम मिलेगा नहीं. तो अमाउंट वाइज नहीं है वो. उतने दिन का कैलकुलेशन आपका क्लेम मिलेगा ही नहीं. उतने दिन का ही डिले होता है.
So that means if delay is for 20 days, then first 14 days will not be counted.
Yes.
We will get only for remaining 6 days.
Yes, for remaining days. Okay, we'll share all this. उसके बाद में आप you can even raise your questions in the group also.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, is there any minimum retention period, minimum retention premium, premium मतलब कि retention है इस ER और ER पॉलिसी में जो प्रीमियम हम पहले चार्ज करते हैं और जब वो रिफंड करवाता है तो हमें जो जैसे फायर में है कि हम मिनिमम प्रीमियम रखते हैं, रिटेन करते हैं, ऐसा CR ER पॉलिसी में है?
नहीं, आपका रिफंड ऑफ प्रीमियम के लिए ऐसा कोई कंडीशन नहीं है. आपका जो कोई भी एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ प्रीमियम करने से नहीं 50% का तो आपका ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट के लिए FLOP के लिए तो है 50% का कंडीशन है. 50% का FLOP में रिफंड ऑफ प्रीमियम के लिए है, लेकिन एडजस्टमेंट ऑफ सम इंश्योर्ड करते हैं तो रिफंड में ऐसा कोई कंडीशन नहीं है. आपका ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट अगर आपने एंटिसिपेटेड लिया है तो उसमें तो 50% का कंडीशन है. Hello. Thank you, everybody. We'll be sharing. Yes, we'll be sharing the PPT.
Hello.
Yes.
I just want to ask one question.
Yes.
Whether we should concentrate on new policies or old policies?
Both.
Both.
What is your guesswork?
No, because the exam is always opposite to our guesswork. So certainly new, there will be some questions, but we can never avoid doing SFSP because above 50 crores abhi bhi to SFSP is there for all our major policies. SFSP तो applicable ही है ना. SFSP तो fire tariff है actually. तो SFSP पे नहीं पूछेंगे ऐसा हो नहीं सकता है. और हो सकता है that if last year they have asked more on new policies, this year they will ask more on SFSP. But new policies पे certainly पूछेंगे because it is quite recent. But it is if you do a comparative study of all policies, you will know whether let them ask anything. You be prepared. Okay.
Ma'am, one doubt.
Yes.
In CAR,
yes.
in CAR policy, is defective workmanship is covered? Defective workmanship.
Defective workmanship is not covered, That is, it is not covered, but the defective workmanship will result into some loss. That is covered. But defective workmanship का जो portion है, उसका rectification will not get covered. So all these exclusions जो होते हैं, exclusion के resultant damages will get covered.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am.
Hello. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, can you explain me with the example cross liability? With example.
Cross liability is policy में दो insured है, contractors दो है समझो, तो आपका policy में तो insured एक से ज़्यादा होंगे ना? So there is a third party liability. Third party liability, something for a insured is something third party for another person. तो उसका जो consignment, उसका जो कोई भी मटेरियल होगा वो दूसरे के लिए थर्ड पार्टी होगा, तो उस because of A there is a damage to the B, because of B there is damage to A, but insured cannot claim for himself, no, under the policy. But there are more parties, so they can be claiming third party liability on the other person. So that gets covered and they will be treated as third party for the other person. Though they are insured, they have different material and they have different contract going on. काम का nature अलग हो सकता है, overlapping होगा, जहाँ पे एक के वजह से दूसरे को third party liability, दूसरे को damage हो सकता है. It's as good as a third party liability, right? For one person, the other person becomes third party. और जो damage होगा वो both को insured करके treat करके third party liability को दिया जाएगा under the same policy, treating each one as an independent party. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Yeah, we are sorry for the delay because of little interruption, the connectivity and the electric supply. Okay, thank you everybody. All the best.